Good afternoon, commissioners and colleagues from PSC. We are just waiting for the chairperson. Chairperson has requested to join slightly late. Okay, he is joining now. We should be commencing the meeting in no time. Thank you.
Thank you for the update, and again, greetings to the honorable members of the Portfolio Committee and my fellow commissioners. Thank you.
Hello, Masi. Are we good to go?
Yes, Chairperson, we can start the meeting. Currently, we still have you and Honorable Langa who are present. Other members are indicating that they will join slightly later. So I think we're good to go, Chair.
Okay. If we're only two members, I'm tempted to say let's maybe just give it 2 or 3 more minutes, if you don't mind, before we start.
No problem, Chair.
Okay. Thank you.
Good day, Chairperson.
Honorable Spies, good day.
Apologies for being 4 minutes late. I'm sorry.
No problem, remember. We are giving it until 5 minutes past, and I think then we can start now that we have 3 members. That's more than enough to start the meeting. Masi, I think we must just give it 1 more minute. I've got a feeling if I look at the group that there might be a member or two joining us now. So let's just give 1 more minute.
Yes, Chairperson, I think we can start. Honorable Tikan has also joined and Honorable Klabe has also joined.
Okay. Good afternoon, members of the committee. Let me take this opportunity to welcome everyone to this committee meeting following our Good Friday recess and the long weekend. I hope everybody is refreshed and energized to continue advancing the important work of this committee and of Parliament. And I would just also like to acknowledge the Public Service Commission, especially the chairperson of the commission, Professor Fikini. Thank you so much for being with us, as well as any other commissioners who are present on this call. Masizole, can I please ask that we project the agenda for the day for the adoption by members, if that's possible? Before we adopt the agenda, Honorable Kaba, I see your hand, or is it to adopt the agenda?
Thank you. Good morning. Good afternoon, Honorable Chairperson. Afternoon to the commissioners in the platform, members of Parliament in the platform, and our support staff. Honorable Chair, I'm raising my hands to adopt the agenda and also to report my apology. We are in the Mpumalanga now, in the oversight with a basic education. So I won't be able to participate in the process because with the job that we are doing here in Mpumalanga. But I do raise my hands to raise the adoption of the agenda. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Kaba. That is noted. Your apology as well as your nomination that the agenda be adopted. Members, as you can see, we only have the briefing by the Public Service Commission and the progress report on the implementation of the recommendations in the BRRR. Those are item number 3, and thereafter there are no further items. We already have a nomination that the agenda should be adopted. Can I please have a seconder?
Please repeat that, Chair.
I'm asking if we can please have a seconder for the adoption of the agenda. We've already.
I second, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Langa. Much appreciated. Members, with that, the agenda has been duly adopted. If we can then move on to apologies. Masi, if you can just assist me, what apologies have been received?
Thank you, Chairperson. We did get an apology from Honorable Ndamase, who's not going to be able to attend the meeting today. We have also received an apology from the Deputy Minister, TPSA, and we were advised also, Chair, that the Minister might join slightly late today at the meeting, and this is held up with the duties of the department.
Okay.
So those are the only apologies that we have from this side, Chair. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Masi. Just please alert me if the minister comes onto the meeting, that I can just give him a greeting as well. But with those apologies noted, members I see Honorable Malinga, your hand as well. Do you have any other apologies you'd like to note?
Thank you, Chair. Greetings, everybody. Due to the time constraint, Chair, I'm rising on the item of apology. Honorable Mkuno gave me a signal that she is on the oversight today in Gauteng, so she won't be able to attend. But I advise her to communicate with our secretary. I don't know what happened. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Malinga. That is duly noted, and will be added to the minutes. with that, members, is there any other apologies? We've already done the apologies. Masi, if there are no more hands, I don't see any hands, and I think we can move on to the next item on the agenda, which is the presentation by the Public Service Commission. Commissioner, as always, I'm sure you'd like to just make some opening remarks, and I hand over to you and your team.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson and honorable members, for giving us this opportunity to present our strategic plan and our annual performance plan as well. And then we present the budgetary review recommendations report as to what has happened and what have we achieved since. And I would like to recognize Honorable Minister in anticipation of his joining the platform, and also recognize my fellow commissioners who have all been invited for chairing our key program areas. Commissioner Mapolisa, who is a resident commissioner in the Eastern Cape, but also chairing the Institutional Development and Governance Committee of the PSC, Commissioner Magaman, who is chairing the Leadership and Management program, and Commissioner Makanya, who is chairing the Monitoring and Evaluation, and Commissioner Skonya, who is chairing our Integrity and Anti-Corruption Committee. We also have our Acting Director General. As you know, that our Director General was taken, thanks to Parliament and the President, to be the Deputy Deputy Public Protector. A loss that we felt, but we do have next to us a very seasoned person who is now the Acting Director General, Irene Matendwa, and our Deputy Director Generals. We take our work of reporting back to Parliament at all times very seriously. We take note of every input honorable members give to us, whether positive or negative, to our heart, because as an oversight body that reports to Parliament, we have to be the example of responsiveness, the example of good governance that we often exercise over other organizations. And also we want to thank you for your tireless effort to make sure that we do have the full complement of the commissioners for the first time, I'm told, since 2014. Now we have 14 commissioners as the Constitution had mandated, no vacancy at all. And also would like to thank you for the distance we've covered with the Public Service Commission bill, which is on the verge of being enacted, and we will work very closely with you as we deal with the transition, because the work will multiply, expectations will exponentially grow. So today I'll just ask our acting DG to present make our presentation, starting with the strategic plan and coming to the annual performance plan, and then the budgetary review recommendations report. I'll now hand over to Irene Matendwa. Thank you. With your permission, Honorable Chair.
Thank you very much, Chairperson Prof. Figeni. Let me take the opportunity and greet the Honorable Chairperson of the Portfolio Committee, honorable members, the Chairperson of the Public Service Commission, commissioners and colleagues. So in line with the agenda, I will start presenting on the Public Service Commission strategic plan for 25-2030, as well as our APP for 26-27. Chairperson, may I request my colleagues to project the presentation so we can all be on the same page. Ms. Gwaza, please assist in projecting the presentation. Okay, Chairperson, that is just the slide that I've just spoken to now. We will then move to the next slide, which is basically the outline of the presentation. As I had indicated, the two key issues here is the strat plan and the APP, and obviously then we'll touch on the overview of the budget to support the work of 2026-2027 financial year. So as we move to the next slide, can we go to the slide of the next slide, please? Chairperson, you will see in this slide that we have got the full complement of the commission for the first time in so many years. The commissioner from Northwest, whom we have been waiting for quite some time, has joined as the last picture on this slide. We can skip the next slide and move to the next slide. That is just the executive management. Chairperson, with your permission, I'm not going to spend time on the constitutional mandate. Everything remains the same here. We have engaged with the portfolio committee on this matter. We can move to the next slide. These are just the implications of the developments on the legislative and policy mandates. Key really is the PSC bill, and what we want to present to the committee, as the chairperson of the PSC has already indicated, is the journey that the portfolio committee has traversed with us, the support. At the moment the bill is before the NCOP, we have got the support of 7 provinces, and except the 2 provinces, one that has abstained and the other one that is not in support. And we can move to the next slide, which is really just about the strategic plan for 20. Strategic plan, firstly, to build a strong and well-functioning public service commission. Secondly, an improved management of HR practices and sound labor relations in the public service. Thirdly, improved service delivery for responsiveness to the needs of the citizens. And lastly, improved compliance with the ethics framework and the constitutional values and principles. I must indicate, Chairperson, that we are on the 2nd year of implementation of this strategic plan, and we also need to be mindful of the fact that this journey may be interrupted in the case that the bill gets approved, which would then require of the PSC to go back to the drawing board and develop a new strategic plan in line with the revised mandate according to the bill. On this slide, Chairperson, also one is not going to spend too much time. It's just to highlight a few things. Firstly, being that ours is an effective and efficient public administration, we remain very much steadfast on that. The issue of ensuring stability and continuity during 7th administration, we've already spoken to the bill. But what is also important, Chairperson, is the fact that we need to strengthen our networks and our partnerships as we prepare now to delve into local government and public entities. With that as well, it would be the issue of mobilizing resources, fundraising, and ensuring that we have sufficient human resource capacity to execute our mandate. We can skip the next slide. Chairperson, I'm now coming to the substantive of our APP for 26-27 in supporting the strategic plan for 25-2030. So this slide projects the first program, which is the administration. This is where our corporate services work takes place. So the first output indicator there is the audit opinion. We are also, for this financial year, aiming to obtain unqualified audit outcome, something that we have been able to maintain for the past 6 years. We are hoping that this year as well, we will maintain as such. So as we continue, again, we have got the issue around vacancy rate. We want to maintain it at 10% of the funded staff establishment. There is an issue around the professionalization framework of the public sector, as the Public Service Commission internally as well will be looking into the review of HR policies to make sure that these are in line with the framework, and would look at 5 of those policies. Chairperson, as we proceed, the issue of payment of suppliers upon receipt of valid invoices, we want to maintain that at 100%. Equally, the percentage of BBBEE suppliers, triple BEE suppliers, including special group appointed, we are targeting 70%. And as we move on, we're going to have a stakeholder engagements. We're targeting to have 4 of those. And then on the matter of occupational health and safety of the Public Service Commission, we are having a target of 1 report. And then, Chairperson, I did indicate earlier on that we will be expected, obviously, to do work in anticipation of the new act, and we have included certain indicators relating to this. The first one is the state of readiness of implementation of the PSC Act once it's approved, and also the number of reports on review of the strategic plan in line with the new act. So in both instances, we'll be producing 1 report for each of those indicators. Chairperson, if you allow me, I want to now get to the second program, which is leadership and management practices. And here, this is the work that we're doing mainly around human resources practices and our labor relations in the public service. So the first indicator there is about the grievances of officials from level 2 to level 12. Upon receipt of a case by investigator that should be concluded within 150 days, we have a target of 80%. Similarly, for SMS members within the same period upon receipt of a case by investigator, it's 80%. And then what we are aiming to do as work in this space is the number of reports produced on grievance management and efficiency of grievance procedure in the public service. Chairperson would recall that before grievances are referred to the Public Service Commission, the rules require that those must be resolved within the department. So we also obtain information from the departments, we analyze that information, and we observe in terms of grievance management. So we'll do 3 reports. As we move on to the 4th indicator is the number of own accord engagements for improved labor relations. So out of these reports, we also make an observation where there are serious challenges of labor relations within departments, and we embark on these own accord engagements where we sit down with management and staff within departments to assist, identify what are the problems, what are the causes of the problems, also trying to minimize potential grievances. So there we have targeted 3 own accord engagements that we are going to have. As we move on, Chairperson, then we have got guides, manual on improving efficiency in the management of grievances at departments. We are producing this kind of guides. So they are also informed by the issues that come through where we realize that there is a problem on performance management, problem on recruitment, and so on. So we produce those guides and manuals to assist departments and public servants in terms of how we manage grievances. Then we produce reports on HR matters. We are going to produce 1 report. And lastly, we have got the number of advocacy and strategic engagements conducted on key challenges and implementation of PSC recommendations on human resource management and labor relations. We are going to be having 18 of those. Chairperson, we can skip the next slide. We come to program 3. This is monitoring and evaluation. The Commission will continue in this space with its work around the effectiveness of government support for service delivery, focusing on functional accommodation and ICT. This is the work that we have started a year ago or so, where we are looking into the implications of the work of DPWI in supporting government departments, SETA in particular, also in supporting departments for service delivery. And then we have got a mandatory report in terms of the Constitution, Section 1964E, the national report will be produced. And then we'll do a report on monitoring the implementation of the professionalization framework, as well as the percentage of departmental CVP monitoring presentations for engagements with executive authorities, that to be produced within 7 or 14 working days of receipt of request. So what happens here is that the Commission has clustered itself within the 14 commissioners, where we engage with EAs, both at national and at provincial, around the performance of their departments. We raise strategic issues, but also what is the compliance with the constitutional values and principle within those departments, as well as monitoring PSC's recommendations. We can skip the next slide, and then we get to program 4, which is integrity and anti-corruption. On this one, Chairperson, the first one is the percentage of cases referred within 7 days of receipt of cases. We have got a target of 90%. Then we have got what we call early resolution complaints that are finalized within 6 months upon receipt of a valid complaint by investigator, again 80%. We have got complex complaints that are finalized within 12 months upon receipt of a valid complaint by investigator, and our target is 75%. And then we have got what we call the rapid response complaints that are finalized within 3 months upon receipt of a valid complaint by investigating officer, 100%. So these are your urgent matters where Public Service Commission get approached by members of the public. It would be someone that would need an ID. It will be someone that would not have received their pension. And in most instances, our assessment just tells us that the person would have complied with all the requirements of the service delivery need, and there were just glitches and they're not receiving the service. And most of them were able to finalize it in even much earlier than 3 months, but where there are still outstanding documents and so on. So our target there is 100% within 3 months of receipt of a valid complaint. And then we have got a number of own accord investigation reports that are finalized in line with the provisions of the Constitution. We conduct those, we'll be doing 10. And then we've got a number of oversight monitoring report produced on the implementation of the ethics framework. So the work that we do around the ethics, integrity, and so on falls within this space. And we also have the last one, which is the number of engagements held on ethics and constitutional values and principles promotion. We are going to have 30 engagements in that regard. We can skip the next slide and get to the last slide in respect of, the APP itself. This is a provincial coordination. We've got footprints in the 9 provinces, where the bulk of our work is happening in the provinces with provincial governments, as well as our citizens are on the ground as well. So here, the first indicator, Chairperson, it's the citizens forums. This is one of the prestige program of the Public Service Commission, where we engage with members of the public in a particular locality, a municipality, and we get to understand what are the issues, and we bring all stakeholders, public and private stakeholders, to deliberate upon these matters, but we also monitor the implementation of the recommendations for improved service delivery. We'll have 3 of those, and then we'll have a number of approved reports on own accord provincial specific projects to address selected public administration, public service and administration deficiencies. We're going to have 10, and then we'll also conduct service delivery inspections, and this is where we visit your frontline offices to observe the delivery of services, whether they are announced or unannounced. Inspections will have 9 of those, and as required by the Constitution as well, to produce the Section 1964E report in respect of the functions and activities of the Commission that has to be tabled to provincial legislatures in this case. So we'll have 9 of those reports. So as we skip the next 2 slides, Chairperson, we have got the overview of the budget and expenditures. And we really just want to appreciate the support that we have received, particularly during this financial year, in terms of the financial injection that we obtained. But I would like to give the CFO an opportunity to then take us through this part of the presentation. Mr. Momeka, please assist.
Greetings to the Chairperson of the Portfolio Committee, Honorable De Villiers, and Honorable Members of Parliament. Let me greet the chairperson of the Public Service Commission, commissioners, DG, ladies and gentlemen. Our budget for 2026-2027 financial year is 353.8 million. This is an increase from 302 million that we had in 2025-2026. And as the DG has indicated, we wish to thank Parliament, in particular the Portfolio Committee, for also giving a word to Treasury. Indeed, we received the funding that was on compensation of employees. That is why we are seeing an increase on our budget. But I will explain how it is basically made up of which components. Just to indicate that our budget is 78% of the budget that I've just mentioned is for compensation of employees. That is our salary bill, which totals to 275 million. And this allows PSC to fill all its vacant posts. The old PSC structure has been fully funded, although operational budget remains lower than what we thought we would get. Honorable members, please note that historically the portion of the compensation of employees was always 75% of the entire budget. And with that increase, it's now 78% of the entire budget, which basically makes the operational budget lower than 25% that it has been the case. The operational budget is 76.5 million. Of the 76.5 million, we do have the mandatory costs that will be funded from 67.1 million. These mandatory costs include office rental monies that we pay for office rentals. We've got offices throughout the country, including the parliamentary office. The constitution requires that there be a commissioner per province. So we do have 9 provinces, provincial offices, and there are also 4 at the head office. The other portion of the operational budget for mandatory costs will include the audit costs that we are paying, both internal and external, the SITA costs, and they're quite included there. Then there is also a portion of 9.4 million, which basically funds what we regard as mandatory, discretionary operations of PSC. This is where PSC is able to reach out communities, where we are able to conduct inspections, conduct citizens forums. And the more that portion of 9.4 million shrinks, we will also are forced to also cut a bit of those operations, because we cannot spend the money that we do not have. The law does not permit us to do that. The remaining portion of the budget is basically for transfers and subsidies, which is inclusive of encashment of days, leave days for those that are retiring, those that are taking early retirements, those that are resigning, and so on. So just to indicate that our budget is centralized for Program 1. It may appear to the committee as if Program 1 is the money is lying there, but the reason for that is because of we have centralized budget for accommodation, even though we are paying those budgets for various programs as well as various provinces. The money is lying in Program 1, including your SIDA-related costs and audit, internal and external fees. Let's go to the next slide. This basically provides the MTF picture. This is the 3-year picture. What I've given in the previous slide was only what was appropriated, but there are 2 indicative years, 2027, 28, as well as 2028, 2029, because our budgets are usually over 3 years, the MTF. So we are seeing that growth between 2026, 27, and various years, and that is just a marginal growth. The compensation of employees remaining at 78%. I think we can move on to the next slide. So this is per program. Honorable Chair, what we did, we decided to disaggregate the commission's budget from that of the administration. So we have disaggregated it so that we can show some transparency there. But I would just wish to indicate that we do have the second biggest program after the administration and commission. In fact, the first biggest program is the one that is lying below provincial coordination. That's where we have all our provinces, and our the following one, which is the IEC, the integrity, it's the second biggest on functional at 38 million, 40.5 million, 41.8. We also have monitoring and evaluation. We've got leadership, and the budgets are indicated on the extreme right of the schedule there, and they are given with the sustained MTF figures. Thank you so much. The next slide. I've already taken members through this information, even though it's now in a tabular manner. But the compensation of employees, as I've indicated, we are seeing a growth which is sustained over the MTF, and we've got the operational budget that doesn't grow at that rate. Members will probably observe that machinery and equipment on the 2 outer years, nothing has been allocated. Let's move to the next slide. This basically, I wish to invite members' attention on the table below. We are giving you a pie chart, basically, how our budget is broken in terms of economic classifications. As I've indicated, we are largely compensation of employees with 19% funding mandatory, and the other operating costs funded from the 3%. We have looked into this, and our views that this picture is not sustainable. We will continue to negotiate with Treasury. I know Chairperson Professor Figeni has given us clear instructions that we need to continue talking to Treasury and knocking on the door, and we would wish the committee members to continue to give the support that they've been giving us. And this is basically for operational costs. I must also indicate, honorable members, that the budget that we are presenting does not cover the work that PSC will be doing in the extended work in municipalities as well as entities. So this is the picture of the budget on the mandate that PSC has always been involved in, but it doesn't include the extension of the mandate. We have made a bid to Treasury. We are hopeful that our discussions will also continue to remind them that upon the President enacting the legislation that is being amended, there will be a need for those functions that are extended to be funded. Next slide. What I've just given, it's the pie chart. It's looking big. It's a 3D pie chart, but it says the same thing: 78% compensation of employees, 19%, just like that. Let's move to the next slide. This slide seeks to just to give a growth of budgets from the past financial year. The year that we are busy preparing is financial statements, 25-26. There's a 12.8% on compensation of employees, and there is that a smaller percentage as it's growing. And members, probably you may have noticed that the Minister of Public Service and Administration has made known the salary increases that will be affected, and we have provided accordingly in that area. Operational budget We've included capital costs. That is the figures that are showing below. We're not having, it's basically even below the inflation rate, but those increases have been affected. The next slide. We thought of keeping this slide to remind honorable members where we're coming from as an institution, a series of deductions that PSC had to suffer. But the picture is changing. If members can look at the last row for MTF 2026, 2027, the orange one, just before the gray, you will notice that we do not have negatives. It's budget addition, and that is the compensation of employees that I referred to. Next slide. Yes, this is basically what we are presenting to yourself, and I will hand over to Madam Matenjwa to conclude, and then the chairperson. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chairperson, Honorable Chairperson, and honorable members on the platform. That concludes our set of presentations, and we will now come to that last part, which is the report on our budgetary review recommendations report. And that too, we will just highlight areas of progress, mindful of time, and the indicated connectivity issues for those operating remotely. Thank you. ADG.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Honorable Chair, with your permission, we'll now go to the second item on the budgetary review recommendations report. We have got about 7 recommendations for the PSC. It will be 6 of them because one is for National Treasury, which we are going to skip. So the first one is about the Northwest Commissioner, where we were requested to continue engaging with the Premier and the Northwest Legislature to prioritize the filling of this post. And we are happy to indicate that the Commissioner was appointed, and she also assumed her duties on the 1st of March. Chairperson, we are going to skip the second item. As I said, it belongs to National Treasury, and move to the third one. Here we had been requested to play a pivotal role in ensuring fair, transparent, and merit-based appointment across the public sector by adopting a proactive monitoring approach. The PSC is well regularly auditing recruitment processes and outcomes within the public service to identify any irregularities such as nepotism. And what we're saying is that the PSC monitors the recruitment and selection processes through research and investigations, and we also proactively initiate research based on observations and trends identified through complaints and grievances. In addition to these investigations and investigating complaints and grievances referred to us, we also conduct investigation on our own initiative as part of the proactive strategies. I think this is something that I alluded to when I presented the APP. Chairperson, as we move to the fourth one, it's about the PSC considering implementing a centralized digital platform where all recruitment processes that would include advertisement, shortlisting, interviews, and selections are recorded and monitored in real time to enhance accountability and ensure merit-based appointments. On this one, we are presenting to the committee that the recruitment and selection processes are currently decentralized, and the Department of Public Service and Administration manages the advertising of posts through the DPSA vacancy circular. Whilst the PSC does not have the capacity to create a proposed central system, the PSC does monitor recruitment and selection processes through research and investigations. The following one, Chairperson, has to do with the Commission together with DPSA to enforce legislation passed by Parliament to ensure that there are consequences for senior management services members who fail to disclose directorship and potential conflict of interest. The legislation must also be applied consistently to curb the disregard for the law and into consequence management rather than the number of officials who failed to disclose. What we are seeing is that in the current cycle of disclosure and reporting, the PSC will account for participating to consequence management of SMS officials who did not comply with the financial disclosure framework, where departments, executive authorities in particular, and HODs have not provided feedback from the on consequence management despite our request and reminders to do so. Executive authorities and accounting of officer to comply, failure of which will be followed by summons to account for such failures. So the Public Service Commission Act does empower us to issue summons where there is non-cooperation from accounting officers and their accounting authorities on matters that the work of the Commission. As we move on, the next recommendation was the PSC must ensure the standardization of Section 1964E report, that is that mandate report that the PSC is expected to produce in terms of what is measured and how it's presented by provincial offices, ensuring uniformity and a clear snapshot of provincial performance in implementing constitutional values and principles. We have already developed a template with supporting process map to facilitate the standardization of these provincial reports. We have already also engaged our provincial colleagues to make sure that such templates and SOPs are followed so we can obtain that level of standardization. The last one, Chairperson, has to do with how we address the findings of the Auditor General relating to internal control weaknesses to improve compliance with procurement and contract management regulations and to prevent irregular expenditures. And what we are saying, Chairperson, is that to date, the PSC has developed an audit improvement plan through which it constantly monitors and tracks progress achieved to address the findings of the AGSA. Regarding the area of compliance with procurement, contract management, and prevention of irregular expenditures, the following actions have been taken by the PSC. The first one being that we have included them in the audit improvement plan, which we track. Secondly, what we're saying is that although there were no financial losses or corruption-related activities with respect to irregular expenditures declared, the irregularities were as a result of administration-related weaknesses in the acquisition process. So in this regard, there were no supplier that was prejudiced as a result. So the correct suppliers with the highest point were awarded. However, the PSC has also conducted thorough investigations on these matters through its loss control committee and processes as established through the system of internal controls. We can also report to the committee that consequence management was implemented by which responsible officials were held accountable, and that the irregular expenditure was later reported to the National Treasury and finally condoned. Chairperson, that brings us to the end of the report, PSC report, in respect of the BRRR 2025 recommendations. And that, Chairperson.
Thank you very much for that presentation, ADG. Honorable members, fellow commissioners, that is what we were asked to present, and that is the package of what we have presented. We will be happy to take questions, comments, or any advices on how we journey on this route of good governance and being the beacon light of hope of other institutions over which we do the oversight. I yield to you, Chairperson. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Commissioner, and for the presentation. It is warmly welcomed. Members, we now go to the deliberations phase to interact with the presentation which we've just received. Can I please ask that members raise their hands if there are any comments or questions? If they can just raise their hands on the platform. Please proceed. Honorable Malinga, you can take us away, and then we'll take hands as they come after that. I see Honorable Spes and Honorable Langa, so we will proceed in that order. Honorable Malinga, Honorable Spes, and then Honorable Langa. Honorable Malinga, please proceed.
Thank you, Chair. My apology with this technical error. Firstly, let us welcome this constructive and well-organized presentation that was coming from the PSC. We really appreciate. And Chair, we are so glad to be part of this administration where we have assisted the Commission. Especially, I can see that all provinces now are covered. We really appreciate that. We believe that from now going forward, everything will go and fold accordingly. Maybe let me have these few questions, Chair, because what I discover and realize is that PSC is coming with a strategy to work going forward. Maybe my first question will be, why do some departments fail to respond despite repeated requests and reminders from the PSC? Are there systemic challenges such as capacity constraint, weak accountability, or leadership deficiencies contributing to these delays? My second question, Chair, will be, what prevents the PSC from publishing annual report on executive recruitment outcome to enhance transparency and public trust? The last one will be, how effective is the National Anti-Corruption Hotline, particularly in light of reported system failures where members of the public are unable to lodge complaint or report maladministration? Maybe, Chair, let me stop there with my questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Malinga. Honorable Spes, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Chairperson, and allow me to appreciate the presentations done by the PSC. Chair, I will dive straight into my questions. With your permission, I'm just here in Acacia, and I'm just going to put this a bit off because I'm experiencing some connectivity, Chair. With your permission.
Absolutely, Honorable Spes, please proceed without your video. Thank you.
At the first one is on the monitoring and evaluation, Chairperson, if I'm correct, that is program 2. I see that 2 studies are planned on service delivery effectiveness, and we do know how important that is with the upcoming local government elections. But also, if we look at the state of local government, and in general. So I want to understand with the 2 studies that have been planned, how were these focus areas selected? And I also want to know that if the PSC is of the view that these 2 focus areas reflect, so it sufficiently reflects the most critical service delivery failures experienced by citizens. And then I also had a question on program 5, which deals with provincial coordination. And it has been mentioned, but I do want to just maybe want to know if there's any other way or means or mechanism one can actually expand this, because the PSC plans only 3 citizens forums nationally. And I believe in a way that it limits the engagement to adequately capture citizen experiences across all provinces. But I do know that it's obviously has got to do with budget constraints and my constraints. And so my next question goes straight into that, Chair, is that there is this gap between the PSC's constitutional mandate and its constrained budget. And in that sense, I would like to know from the PSC, what are the top 3 areas where you believe Parliament intervention is most urgently required to strengthen the your oversight effectiveness? I then have 3 more, then I'm done, Chair. How do you, as the PSC, prioritize investigations? And as already mentioned, given your limited resources. So I would like to understand the type of criteria that, what criteria determines which complaints or which systemic issues are addressed first. And then I want to understand, and maybe that question has been answered, or maybe that's my oversight. I want to know to what extent the Commission contributed to reducing irregular, fruitless, and wasteful expenditure across the public service. But I think somehow my mind says that has been covered. So that one can be maybe taken off. The next one for me is very important, and it's got to do with the financial disclosure framework. And so I want to understand to what extent is the framework effectively detecting and preventing conflicts of interest and corruption risks within the public service? And can the Commission possibly provide the committee with evidence of cases, for instance, where the framework has led to early detection or intervention, and which specific gaps have then afterwards been identified that actually requires strengthening to ensure that there's obviously Chair, proactive risk detection and early warning systems. I will stop there for now, Chair. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honourable Space. Next, we have Honourable Langa. Honourable Langa, please proceed.
No,
Honourable Space, please mute, if you don't mind.
I am muted. It wasn't me, Chair.
Oh, sorry, I only saw 2. Okay, looks like the issue has been sorted. Apologies for incorrectly pointing you out, Honourable Space. Honourable Langa, it is your turn. Please proceed.
no, thank you very much, Chair. Maybe before I proceed, may I also request to keep my camera off because I'm in transit and I've just found a corner here so that I'm able to partake in the meeting.
No problem. Please proceed.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Chair. Greetings to you, Chair, and the honorable committee members, the PSC Chair, Prof. Figeni, and all our commissioners from all provinces in the Republic, and the PSC leadership led by the acting DG, Ms. Matenjwa. and our support staff. Chair, let me also join my colleagues in welcoming the presentations by the acting DG and the CFO, Mr. Momela. Chair, maybe let me first commend Treasury for some injection to the Commission. We know very well, we're very much aware that it is not enough, but we do appreciate the effort, and we are definitely positive that it should make a positive impact. And with the hope that moving forward, there will be some consistency around it in terms of injecting rather more resources to the Commission. Chair, maybe let me also mention that, it becomes very difficult to pose questions as portfolio committee members to the Commission when we are very much aware of the challenges that the Commission is facing, especially on the perspective of the resources. So when it becomes difficult to do that, it somehow actually limits our oversight, especially on this platform when we need to hold the PSC accountable and we know what their challenges are. However, Chair, I do have one or two questions of clarity. And also one needs to put it on record because business of the day, at the end of the day, is to receive reports and engage them. So, Chair, my first question to the Commission will be, given that the PSC bill expands your mandate to include local government and public entities, now how will the Commission prevent the dilution of its current oversight role, especially in the light of existing financial and human resource constraints? And the second and last one will be PSC targets, or rather targets allow up to 150 working days to conclude most grievances. So does PSC consider this time frame responsive and fair? And what consequences follow when these targets are not achieved? I have other questions, Chair, but they are sort of repetitive, like I have said before. When we are aware of challenges as well, one cannot keep on asking the same questions, So for now, Chair, can I please pause there? Thank you very much.
Thank you indeed, Honorable Langa. Honorable Pulwane, please proceed.
Thank you very much, Chair. Let me join my colleague by welcoming the presentation, Chair, and greetings to you, the Commissioner, and all honorable members. Chair, I'm partially covered by my colleague, but the only thing that I want to repeat is the issue of target not achieved. I think this one, Chair, we must always talk about it. We want to know the reason so that they will be in record. If they need our intervention, we will intervene if possible. But that one, I think, is a question from me, so that they can tell us the challenges of target not achieved. The other one, Chair, because I was in and out, I'm on the way. I don't know whether I'll repeat some of the question, but the question that I have is how effective is the use of someone in compelling the accountability, and what action follow after the summon has been issued? The other one is, does the financial disclosure framework effective, promoting transparency and preventing conflict from the interest of the public? The last one, Chair, does the Commissioner have the system in place to monitor high-risk officials identified through the financial disclosure? I've got only these few questions here. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Pulwane. I've been mostly covered by the other members, and I see no other hands. Although I would just like to say that I welcome that the Commissioner for the Northwest, that process is drawing to a close. I was, Commissioner of the PSC. I was quite worried when I saw that during the lifestyle audits presentation by the different provinces, the Northwest said that they appointed the ethics officers as per the guidelines, and then they had their senior managers do their disclosures. And could you believe it? All the disclosures was clean, and there were no red flags, which I think most people on this call find difficult to believe, because what we've seen is when the SIU is used to do lifestyle audits, they always find that there are lifestyle audit issues, public service members living beyond their means. And this really relates to a question that was also asked by Honorable Pulwane in terms of the financial disclosures. How can we, what can we do about the fact that there are perhaps public service members who just lie about their public disclosures? What measures are there to pick that up, and what can be done about it? I do see there's one more hand. Please proceed.
Thank you, Chair. My apologies for having joined late. My question is just, what are the strategies that we can employ to increase the operational budget so that the gap between, staff costs and operational resources is bridged? Because activities will be based on operational budget. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Tlhape. And with that, I think those are all the questions and comments received by members. Thank you, members, for your valuable input. Public Service Commission, I hand back over to you.
Thank you very much for these wonderful questions and also the guidance that has been given. The first one is the issue of the failing departments which fail to respond. We have established a clear correlationship that one, the ministers who have not been readily available to meet with us, coming with their team so that we point out what challenges are. It's usually those ministries where you'll have a number of challenges. And secondly, it is departments which already have internal crisis of near implosion. We once reported on the military veterans to say it is a department that was collapsing. Not much attention was paid until it finally collapsed. So in this case, I do think that with your permission, it might also help to say, if there was something on military veterans, we also interface with the speaker and then relay that particular report to the relevant portfolio committee of that department. Perhaps it might have a lot more traction. We have a situation of a non-response, non-cooperation in one instance, which has become so glaring that we have now written directly to the state president, and we will be writing to the speaker if the matter is not resolved, because it's been going on and we've been making findings, but the situation is getting worse. And that in itself, we will keep you abreast on some of the issues in that particular case. Where we have engaged with the ministers, we find that cooperation suddenly improves. They understand better what the issues are, and they also understand that our approach primarily is developmental, is solution seeking, is fact finding rather than just fault finding. On the issue of the citizens forums, that we've reduced them to 3 citizens forums, it's just purely because of the budget cuts. We used to cover all provinces. And these 3 provinces that have their citizens forums, we try to rotate the following financial year and have others, but we used to do them simultaneously the same year. Once our operational budget improves, we will be able to deal with those. What are the top 3 areas that Parliament would assist with the oversight and strengthening of oversight? I do think that if we work towards an integrated digital system where the information of public servants is located, so that if a person is blacklisted, if a person was facing disciplinary, if a person was expelled, they won't disappear and reappear in another province. With that system, it wouldn't matter who they mobilize to be in the panel of interviews, because that system with biometric data and so forth would actually be able to curtail this. It would also help with integrating information across departments so that we know what is happening with the career incident of employees. I think that utilization of technologies as they are, and even deploying, where possible, AI for pattern recognition, because it will tell a person who used to fail in this or who used to be involved in this, a person who has not disclosed their assets. In fact, we're even proposing that we should not call these financial disclosures, because there are also assets which are non-financial. It's a misnomer. I think we've written to the Minister of Public Service and Administration to say, can we consider consulting with Treasury, just calling this, as it is the case across many countries, assets and finances, so that people don't say, I only understood the financial part, or psychologically we get focused on the finances. How do we prioritize investigations? I think it's a very wonderful question. Because of our limited resources, we've come to say, when we do our strategy sessions, which programs, projects have the highest impact on improving effectiveness and efficiency of public service? You'll note that the flagship programs that we then identified, especially those which were pinching on the nation, are the ones that we have prioritized, because we know they will have a catalytic impact on the entire system. And one of those is the one of the IT system for government, which we will soon be announcing the major investigation and the reforms that we're proposing to the minister. We met with the Minister Malatsi and his department only on Friday to give the preliminary report, because we believe, since IT is so central across departments, since it is key to our global competitiveness, to our service provision, to our monitoring, to every other thing we want to do as a tool of trade, it's quite key. It cannot be allowed to fail and have a lot of downtime. So we then say, instead of focusing on this one case, that grievance, and that one, without leaving those behind, we've chosen flagship programs. The one of the office accommodation, for example, where during COVID, we realized that as people were asked to do the social distancing and comply to certain health conditions, the issue of accommodation became a problem. We are a country which is estimated to have a 70 billion worth of real estate property, but we rent in the region above 4 billion per year for government. And we ran even next to some of our solid structures. And this has also created some kind of, squalid conditions within the cities. It has become an eyesore. Hence, our engagement with public works on this one. So it's high impact. It impacts right across. The one of the forensic laboratories, for example, when there was a backlog in the country, rape cases, GBV cases, many other murder cases not being resolved because there was that backlog, we went into the inspection of all SAPS major forensic laboratories. After that, we came with recommendations. We met with the then minister, the commissioners of police and so forth, and we started seeing a movement and the unclogging of the system based on those recommendations. So ours is to focus on high impact programs. Hence, then we have been pushing in those particular areas so that we say, with the limited budget, what can have a lot more footprint and impact across the public service. Same with the recruitment, which we're trying to finalize. Of course, it will take effect when certain things are regulated by the department, because we can prepare the format and everything else, but the department, DPSA, has to put regulations in place for some of these things to go forward. So that's how we prioritize. How do we reduce irregular expenditure and improve efficiencies? Because that is also core to our mandate. We met with the Minister of Finance and his department. We're in the process of now having a partnership just to deal with the issues of efficiency. But we have not waited for that. When you look at the issue of prolonged suspensions, we've been very vocal. We've been engaging DPSA. We've been engaging with the presidents, with every other person involved, to say we're losing so much money. The issue of the ghost employees. And all those were meant to improve our efficiencies, just like the one of the unlawful instruction guidelines that we issued. That too was meant to make sure that we do not have the life asset demanding situations and many other things which lead to costly exercises. That digitization of information will make sure that a brigadier Nkosi will not take files home because they'll be copied somewhere. It will make sure that you do not have almost 70 to 80 billion potential medical legal claims because files have been lost in the provinces, in the hospitals, because you will have a system of recording everybody, and these will go to cloud storage with all the necessary securities in space. So those are some of the efficiencies that we have been targeting. Then the issue of the conflict of interest and corruption. I do think that our push to have the framework, the lifestyle audit, implemented on a wide scale is key, because we realize that it has been decentralized, but the implementation has been uneven, sometimes just the surface, declaration. Right now, we are beginning to say maybe the most vulnerable units, such as people in supply chain and procurement, people in HR, in the trading entities, those who are in the coal face of it, contract management, and those who are dealing with contract management, project management, that's where areas of corruption are most likely. Therefore, we could then be saying which areas must we get on board. You might have heard in the media, Minister of Police, after we had a discussion, he has formally asked that Public Service Commission will work with him to implement recommendations that will come out of the Standing Committee as well as the Matlanga Commission, and even going back to the Zondo Commission, where these implicate the criminal justice system. And we have had similar discussions with the Minister of Justice. So we stand ready to go to the core And we're very happy that the Madlanga Commission comes with more forensic details on board, which makes it very easy to take the case and charge people, freeze assets, and do other things. Because previously, I think the lack of that forensic dimension created those long delays, especially in a country which has lost a lot of capacity, in terms of the forensic, the forensic sector. We have our National Anti-Corruption Hotline, which we are modernizing, and we've seen an uptake with the limited staff for persons who have to work their way out, that we've had the highest recording in the previous months of cases reported to us. Sometimes the calls we receive are going for social grants and social development. When they are not responding, then they come to our own anti-corruption hotline, and we deal with those. Even our rapid response system, we deal with those. And lastly, I do think that this committee can assist us with ensuring that our operational budget is increased, and also the sustaining of the one for HR or personnel. And more important, once the PSC Act is in place, we're expected to grow exponentially, almost to the factor of 3 times more than the size that we have. It is where now it becomes crucial, because expectations will grow, and we did our business case. We presented it to Treasury. They have to honor that side of the bargain so that we're able to begin with speed to implement the extension of our mandate and to implement all the changes which we effected with your generous guidance and support. I thank you. If colleagues have things, I can check with my fellow commissioners if there is anything they want to add, and then I'll check with our ADG and the DDGs and CFO if there is anything to add. Thank you, Chairperson. ADG.
Honorable Chairperson, I may be keen to add if it's possible.
Yes. Yes, Prof. Makanya, I think Honorable Chair has given us the permission. Thanks.
Wonderful. No, thank you so much, Chair. Thank you so much, Honorable Chairperson, honorable members of our portfolio committee. Just to zoom into the very first one that I've noted, the chairperson of the PSC has gone through in a systematic fashion in responding to the questions that honorable members have raised. But there is this one, honorable chairperson, honorable members, that I just want to talk to, because I find it interesting on our part in considering the manner in which it's presented, where Honorable Malinga, is asking, on the question of what prevents us as a Public Service Commission from publishing, reports annually. And then he cited this one in particular on recruitment and appointments. Just to say that it is actually a very good platform for the simple reason that immediately when these kinds of reports, are published in a manner in which the honorable member, is guiding us, to consider that departments concerned will automatically feel the pressure and that they have nowhere else to go but to do precisely what is presented. I mean, our chairperson of the Public Service Commission has just made mention, Honorable Chair, honorable members, of the forensic laboratories, investigations that we had conducted. one of the matters, that will excite, the portfolio committee honorable members is that one of the recommendations flowing from those inspections of the forensic science laboratories is that it was reported that our forensic science laboratories that are in Durban, in the Amanzimtoti area, are located in an area that is not necessarily viable. And also in terms of security, that it is not the place where they should be because of the kind of exposure, where the material can be lost and of course affect, our criminal justice system at the end of the day. And the recommendation was that it will be appropriate if such a facility is moved to an area that will be appropriate for work of that nature, but within the precinct, of eThekwini municipality. And honorable members, honorable chair, you will note that last week there is a facility where they have now moved to, and it's part and parcel of what flowed from that kind of work that the Public Service Commission had done. And one of the matters also flowing from that particular work was that the senior leadership of the SAPS did confess that with the reports that come directly from the Public Service Commission, they then get support when it comes to the appointments of the critical skills that they require. So they then said it has become very clear that using that particular report in their own submissions on what they will then need, that it becomes a bit easier for them, to get the kinds of resources that they require. And also in the context of our resource base, that one of the strategic areas that we've committed to, as the chairperson had insisted, that considering the kinds of constraints, on our financial domain, that much as the process of increasing what is the allocation to the Public Service Commission, that it will be necessary for the Public Service Commission to begin actually mobilizing resources in order to augment that which is there. That work, in our view, Honorable Chair, Honorable Members, is going to come in very handy as well in ensuring that our work actually proceeds, as expected, from your good selves. And finally, perhaps just to also from my side, thank the Honorable Chairperson and Honorable Members, because I remember very well that when you were doing your work in Northwest, you were very clear about that that province needed to have its own commissioner so that we are not overstretched from the side of the national office. And you repeated the same commitment when you were at the national office in Pretoria. And the good news now is that we do have the commissioner. So we are very excited about that. I mean, Professor Figeni, the chairperson of the Public Service Commission, was consistent in saying that he would like to see me returning, to the national office, because I had been in the Northwest for 3 full years, Honorable Chair and Honorable Members. So we just want to express our gratitude for the work that has now happened. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Professor Figin and Professor Makanya, acting DG here. I just want to take 2 questions as well. There was an issue around how do we deal with targets that are not met. And I think a reference was made to the 150 working days in respect of grievances. So the first thing that we do is analysis of case allocation for our investigators. So we make sure at all times that there is a fair allocation of these cases. So you don't have one investigator sitting with a lot of cases, and then you have got other investigators riding free, for lack of better word. So whether our investigators are at national and provincial, all the time we make sure that where there is a lot of grievances from certain provinces, then we redirect those grievance cases to the other province to make sure that the target is not met. The other issue, again, on these grievances is the level of cooperation that we receive from departments. So if departments are delaying in respect of giving us information that we need to finalize the investigations, then there are delays. But recently, one has been engaging with a number of DGs and HODs where we are also kind of threatening to invoke our summons because they have not given us the information. And one is also picked up that once you start writing that letter to say that we have written the letter and we have not responses. Now, when you don't respond in 7 days, we are now going to summons you. The response becomes quite good. Where we may have problems, Chairperson, it's if we receive a grievance, for instance, on the 20th of March or on the 25th of March. Now, the financial year end is the 31st of March. We need 150 days to investigate that grievance. So where we are able to investigate within the shorter period, we do so. But obviously within that period, it becomes very limited. So those grievances, normally we are not able to complete within the set target because they were received right at the end of the financial year. And the second one is the executive recruitment guide. It's available, and what we will request is our colleague to send a copy to Parliament. I think the other questions have been taken care of, and thank you very much, Chairperson and honorable members.
We hand it back to you, Honorable Chairperson and honorable members.
Thank you very much, Public Service Commission, Commissioner. It's as always, you always present with a high degree of professionality and clarity, and we really do appreciate that. Members, it is now 3:30. If there's any burning second questions, I will allow. If there's any member that would like to comment or take a second bite at the cherry, please indicate so. Okay, it does not seem that way. Thank you very much. Honorable Langa. No. Honorable Langa,
Yes,
I saw you. Yes, would you like to add something? I saw your hand go up.
I'm just thinking if it's excitement from my side or whether I should comment or not, but the developments from the Madlanga Commission, I think somehow, they get to even further assist, to further assist the PSC as well, who are on the ground dealing directly. You don't always have the likes of your commissions like that. So from me as a member who sits in the Public Service and Administration and who is very much in support of the work of the Public Service Commission, I get excited when I see such developments, when I see public service officials being held accountable. So I hope all those developments as well will further assist our commission, in making their job much easier. Thank you very much, Chair. It was just that comment.
Thank you very much, and I must wholeheartedly agree. Thank you for the comments, well noted on Bulanga. Masikole, I don't have the agenda in front of me, but I think we've concluded with all agenda points. Just confirm to me if that's correct.
That's correct, Chairperson. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Members of the Public Service Commission, commissioners, and members of the committee, support staff, thank you very much for your attendance today. We have concluded with our business and the meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable
Thank you very
Chairperson
much,
and
Chair.
honorable members.
You must understand that I've just finished.
Yeah.
I've just finished the PSA meeting.
No, this meeting is.
You finished 3 meetings today.
Yeah.
Don't trust the PSA.
Yeah.
And this one.
Recording stopped.